Bolt your windows. Lock your doors. Check your closets. Look under your bed. And then prepare yourself. For it's another episode of Dark Knight of the Podcast.
Baby, you're a firework. Go on, let your colors.
Oh, we are way out of sync.
We started on the same note. Like, we were perfect. We came in on it the exact same beat. But what tempo were you at?
I don't know.
Are you singing it as a ballad? Because I was jumping right into it. I really wanted to start it with because Troy was in Las Vegas seeing one Katy Perry, and all I keep thinking of is that. Go on and put your money where your mouth is. That's what you get for waking up in Vegas. And he sent me this fucking clip of it. And listeners, I was so excited. I love that song. He sends me this clip, and it was so lackluster. I was so unimpressed. Katy Perry better be upgrading her performance quality there in Vegas, or else she will not have a residency for too long. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh, yeah. It was her opening. She was on a hiatus for 6 weeks. So last night was her first show back. And let me tell you, it was packed. There was not an empty seat in that theater. Every other song was great. She just decided to turn that one into like a Broadway show ballad, and it just didn't work. And I was like, God damn it, Katy Perry. God damn it. Why?
Yeah. I'm pretty salty about it. But other than that, I'm happy you got to see her. I don't always love Katy Perry, but when I fucking love her, I love her. I love that if it's really over and then it's really over. I love that song. I think she doesn't get enough credit for that track. But I'm happy you got to go. I haven't seen a concert in a hot minute. I'm chomping at the bit for some live music, so I'm jealous of you.
Yeah, it was a fun time. It was a fun time. That's the one cool thing I think about me living here in Vegas now is I'll have the opportunity to see all of these concerts, and they're literally like a 5-minute Uber drive down the road for me. So, so I'm excited. It was great. It was a great time.
Yeah,
it's Vegas, so we stopped at one of the bars inside of Resorts World, which coincidentally that's where me and you stayed with Gustavo and Teresa and all those fun people back in April before I moved here. So we were in the same, but we stopped at this fucking that what I'm talking about, that Big Dog Saloon.
Yeah.
It's like right in the entrance. Okay, so we were like, okay, we're here about an hour early. We'll stop. We ordered literally a draft beer. Okay. Nothing fancy. It was a Michelob Ultra, right? 16 ounce. You know how much it was?
How much?
A piece?
How much?
$22.
What? Oh my God.
$22. I was like, what the fuck? So they're like, well, yeah, but if you we can comp it if you put, a 20 in, and or if you put money in the machine and you play $1 at a time until the light turns green, we'll comp it. So we both did that. I put it. My friend that I was with went through his 20 just like that, but he got his drink comp, so I guess it evened itself out. I put a 20 in and started playing $1 bet at a time on Keno, and within my third bet, I won $100.
Look at you!
So I just cashed out, and I was like, "Oh, okay.
Money! How are you spending that 100?
Well, I already spent most of it last night on more drinks after the show, so there you go.
Letting her hair down, everybody. She deserves it after a long weekend in Houston. You deserve to have some time to yourself.
And starting my new job on Wednesday, so...
We're really living the American lifestyle right now, Troy. Slaving away for the man. Just like the antagonist in the film that we are covering for this Patreon exclusive episode. We are keeping it patriotic right up through the very end of July, because this is the last thing to drop, and we are dropping it on the final day, as we tend to do with our featured episode. So this month, we're keeping it very 4th of July themed. We're reviewing the 1996 decision that was Uncle Sam. And I don't say that with loathing in my voice so much as just shock and awe at some of the choices that were made. But you know what? There's other things in this movie that I say, you know what? I tip my big wide brimmed red, white, and blue American flag hat in your direction, sir, because I think there's aspects of this movie that are quite fun, and I think it's going to make for a fun bit of dialogue. And Troy, what are your thoughts on Uncle Sam after this exclusive viewing?
That is a great question. I mean, it's just a very odd film. I don't. I guess we just have to get into it. I feel like tonally, sometimes the film doesn't mesh well. It's like tonally, sometimes
I
it doesn't
agree.
really know what it wants to be. But I have the same issue with William Lustig's other kind of popular film, I guess, Maniac Cop. I feel like that kind of has the same vibe where it really doesn't know what it wants to be, whether it wants to be like this flat out horror comedy with this like wisecracking villain, or if it wants to really be a serious slasher set piece. It's just jarring, and some of the performances don't really match what is, I think, the intention of the film and the dialogue, how the dialogue is supposed to drive the plot. I don't think some of these performances really deliver very well with that respect. And yeah, just weird choices all around. This has never been a favorite film of mine. I saw it years ago, probably. I mean, when I was just out of high school. It came out in '96, so I would have just been out of high school. And I watched it and never even thought about it again. It's a great choice for our July Patreon, and also I know this was also one of the films that Chris Cameron suggested us to do for July for our fan pick month, but we ended up getting Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4 instead. So, but now we get to cover the piece of cinema that is Uncle Sam.
We do, and I got to say, if I'm gonna start with a positive note, one thing I'm gonna say about this movie right off the goddamn bat is when it comes to like milking a holiday, this film takes the 4th of July and it fucking runs with it. This movie is just dripping with American like patriotism, and like it opens with this big military sequence which is supposed to be over in like
Kuwait. It's
Afghanistan or
Kuwait.
something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Kuwait. Yeah, they do mention it. They say that. And like this movie does not have a big budget. Like, let's be clear. Like, it's really not a huge budget. It's clear, but the things that they like attempt to pull off sometimes, I also give them credit for that. I'm like, okay, let's open in Kuwait. Let's have some big, massive sequences where wreckage is found and people are charred up, and it's just like they try to go big. They swing every time. They miss a lot of it, but sometimes they hit. I'll say that. Sometimes they hit.
I will say also the film I think hits a little bit differently, knowing where we've been at as a country, since about 2016. I don't know if you're understanding kind of what I'm getting at, but the whole idea of, oh, patriotism, America first, blah, blah, blah. It really, I think this film, obviously at '96, it wasn't really a big issue then, but now where we're at as a country, where we're so fucking divided, like this, I honestly believe this is the most divided we've ever been as a country. Like I know several people that are like Democrats that refuse to even have anything to do with Republicans, have cut people out of their life, and vice versa. I just remember the days where it didn't really matter. Your politics didn't really matter. It wasn't a huge talked about thing. People just voted the way they voted, and it wasn't really discussed. I think social media has changed that for the worse, because I really believe we as a country are super divided, and there's a whole sector of people here now that believe that being so patriotic and celebrating the 4th of July is problematic. Because of the history of the country. But then you have the whole sector of people who are obviously like, oh, well, you're anti-American. If you want to kneel for the Pledge of Allegiance, you need to move out of the country. You're anti-American. And this film really hits on some of those ideas and philosophies. And it's just really interesting to watch the film now with everything that's happened. I don't know if you kind of felt the same way or not.
Oh my gosh, I think it's crazy to think about in a way, but like how strange that we can look back on this piece of cinema that was obviously created I'm sure, a very different mentality and a different extremist mentality in the sense of the kind of parody material that this was touching on, because that definitely existed at the time, but now it's prevalent. Now it's everywhere. People who think like this, it's common to see this come up on your social media feed. It's common to see this kind of banter, or overhear this kind of banter between individuals when you pass them. This whole kind of extremist, like pro-American mentality to such an extreme. Um, and so it is. I agree. I completely agree. It's kind of I think jarring is the right word that you use to hear some of the things they talk about in this film, because I don't think it was ever intended to have such a strange impact. So yeah, I think that makes for a really interesting angle for discussion as well as we lead into it. And one thing I'm going to say, kind of right off the bat, with this is we've talked recently about like uh, the best killers and the worst killers, and the best villains, the worst villains, and what makes a good villain, what causes a villain to fail. And I think this movie, which is not a complete train wreck, this film I would not say is a complete train wreck. There's some really cool sequences in this movie. But one of the weak points, unfortunately, is I feel like the focal antagonist, Uncle Sam, the titular villain, um, there's a really interesting premise there that they're kind of brewing up, the whole thing where it's literally the Uncle Sam, where he's related to this kid who idolized him. There are elements of it that are actually quite intriguing. But as it develops, whoever decided to goddamn put him in that fucking costume, like that more than anything is what causes this movie to veer into comedic territory for me, because I think this could have been played off in a different way and felt a lot grittier and less like shticky. And I think that's one of the biggest weak points, is the fact that they put this zombie killer in this really awful, cheap looking Uncle Sam costume. I think it's a really poor choice, and I just got to get that out there right now.
Yeah, and also I find the voice that the Uncle Sam character uses to be extremely distracting and grating. It's a very slow, deliberate voice. I'm here for you, Jody. I'm doing this for you, Joe. I'm like, fuck this.
Yeah, and it's like it's got like a rasp to it too. Like it's very much like dubbed in. You can tell like it's not mixed perfectly. There are some audio blips over the course of this film as well that are kind of noticeable, but his voice always feels very separate from everything. So I have that same note as well. It definitely is it's kind of, again, jarring. It's the right word for sure.
Well, I mean, we can get right into it. I mentioned it is directed by William Lustig, who also is very well known for doing the Maniac Cop franchise, which again I'm not the biggest fan of. I guess I just don't like. There's just something about his style that I guess just I'm not a fan of. It just distracts me. I feel like he is an example of a filmmaker that goes into a film without a clear idea in terms of what he wants the tone of the film to be. I don't know. So I'm just not a fan of that. There's just something that doesn't mesh right in this film. And it's the exact same issue I have with Maniac Cop as well. But the film does open. I mean, I guess it's supposed to be an elaborate opening scene, but you can tell they just filmed it in somebody's backyard, where it's supposed to be Kuwait, and it's dark out, and this army sergeant and some of the other troops, I guess, in the squad are going to look for a downed helicopter that the wreckage was able to be seen now that rain and a windstorm or something knocked revealed this wreckage. So they go to this helicopter that's been crashed, and there are literally charred bodies laying everywhere, including one that is in the passenger seat of the helicopter. And there is a moment where one of the soldiers mentions, "Oh my gosh, this looks like it was friendly fire." And he gets scolded immediately by his superior, saying, "I don't want to hear that shit, blah blah blah." And then he goes over to the helicopter, opens the door, sees the charred body of one Sam Harper, because that's the name on the dog tags. And without really any suspense or buildup or any sort of uh, notice, this Uncle Sam character grabs the soldier and snaps his neck. It's very quick. It's very sudden. There's nothing, like I said, nothing suspenseful or tense about it at all. And then the Sam takes the soldier's gun and proceeds to shoot through his body at the other superior officer until he's dead. And then he makes a little quip. Don't be afraid. It's only friendly fire, he says. And then he died. Okay, so I'm really confused, Roger, already. All right, so was he... help me.
Well, first of all, let's acknowledge that the acting here is pretty fucking rough. Let's just get this
Oh,
out.
it's awful.
I give them credit for going where they're going, but the acting is pretty rough.
Oh, we have some rough acting. The broad that's changing in her bedroom.
Oh, I love her. I love her. Yeah, that's all you see of her. But I like the fact that they're at least trying to go there. I give them credit. The set piece here for the wreckage is pretty cool. It actually looks pretty good. But it is very confusing in the sense of, like, they're trying to set up an interesting motivation for Sam to be the antagonist. And, like, I get where they're going. There's something really interesting there with the whole friendly fire aspect, but the way they play it off with like a one liner and a wink, when he says friendly fire, like they could have done this in a different way and had it been way more impactful. And unfortunately, because of the way it's executed here, because it has this kind of shtick element to it, he fires the gun through himself, like I guess killing himself, apparently, in order to kill the sergeant or whomever it is that is associated with it. He fires through his own torso. It's just like I don't understand the motivation. I don't understand. Is he simply pissed because of the friendly fire aspect? Is it like a PTSD kind of thing that they're trying to establish here because he went through this trauma? Or am I thinking too deep with this? Like, I just don't understand exactly what the motivation is supposed to be here.
Well, I kind of got the based on what is said about this character or what is revealed about this character as the film goes on. I was in the mindset that he is the one that downed the plane. And he was the one that actually shot up his soldier mates, whatever they're called. What are they called? I don't know. Soldier mates. We'll just use this.
It sounds like that sounds like a porn, like a gay porn, like subgenre.
I don't know what they're
like. It's something you can like link off of one of the Pornhub links. You click on the soldier mates icon at the top corner.
His fellow soldiers. I got the impression he is the one that did it. And that's why he keeps making the quip about the friendly fire. It's just friendly fire, no harm, And but then is he supposed to be a zombie or is he really alive?
That's what's confusing. Like, how is this happening? I think he's still alive at that point. I think what happens is he overhears them say it was friendly fire, and that triggers his anger. That's kind of what I took it away as. Is like, because they're like, it's friendly fire, and he's like, don't say that. Like he tells him not to say it.
I don't know. I think we're supposed to. Again, we're reading into this way too, but I think we're supposed. I think we're supposed to assume he's the one that killed his.
Well, he sounds like an asshole.
Soldier, because what's revealed about him. I mean, as the film goes on, it is revealed that he only joined the military in order to satisfy his urge to kill. So I just assumed, okay, he didn't find any Kuwaitis to kill, so he killed his fellow battalion. Whatever the fuck it's called. I don't know.
He went out with a bang. He literally went out with a bang.
And then the opening credits are a choice.
Oh, but don't I mean, come on, say what you want, but this is the liveliest opening credits we've seen in a long fucking time. It's patriotic. It is grand, Troy.
Answer me this question, though. Does it fit the tone of the film?
But what is the tone of the film, Troy? What is the film? I don't even know what it is. I can't sit here. I've watched it several times now. I still can't tell you what their goal was. Serious drama slasher or sticky comedic like spoofable comic humor, all those things. Like there's all of these big jokey, funny elements to it that come out in some of these sequences that feel so forced. And other times it seems like they're really hitting their stride as like a dramatic slasher. There's actually some acting performances that come up here that are like, why is this so serious? Like why are they doing such a good job in these specific moments? It's so weird. We get Bo Hopkins, we get Timothy Bottoms. I mean, like, it's a stack cast.
We get PJ Souls.
Oh, we do. We get fucking PJ Souls playing a complete cunt. I love her. But yeah, I mean, the opening credits are just all over the fucking place, but they're very lively.
There's nothing really horror about them. They literally look like you're watching the opening credits of like a documentary about why we celebrate July 4th. It's just an odd choice for a horror film to have these very, I mean, they are patriotic credits. We're getting a lot of imagery of 4th of July parades and presidents shaking hands with babies and, all this stuff. But there's nothing that really screams, hey, this is a horror film. So I thought that was an interesting decision. But we cut to what we is revealed on screen through text: Twin Rivers, USA. I guess we're just supposed to fill in whatever state we want, right? Because it just says Twin Rivers, USA. And it is July 1st. I will say, this establishing shot of this neighborhood, I will say, they did a really good job in giving me Halloween vibes.
Well, down to the PJ Souls.
Down to the P. Well, she doesn't show up till later in that fabulous purple dress. But no, just like the small suburban, small town, middle America town, like just the established shot reminded me very much of like the shot of the street in Haddonfield, Illinois, in the openings of Halloween when the girls are walking down the street. Very similar vibe. So I like that. I'm like, okay, they're going the traditional slasher film vibe with this, but then they don't.
But I will agree. I feel like establishing the city and the small town where all of this takes place, you do actually get a really great scope of this area. You get a really good idea of the kind of setting, the kind of neighborhood they live within. You get a small town feel often and strong, especially towards the finale when you do get to some of these bigger sequences. I mean, they brought out all the fucking extras. They were giving away free hot dogs or something because this place is stacked. There are people everywhere. So I do appreciate that. It feels very authentic, all-American, which plays nicely into the theme of the movie. After we get this grand, explosive opening sequence, I do want to say that like moments in this movie feel like sometimes they move really slowly. Like this driving sequence that we had at the beginning with the vehicles, like you saw them driving for like, I feel like 5 minutes. And now you have this moment coming in where you reveal on the character of Jody's nightstand, this fucking cunt of a child that we'll talk about in a moment. On his nightstand, you see a picture of his Uncle Sam. It's a letter written on a photo that's framed on his nightstand, and you see it for about 12 minutes. You just keep seeing these like dissolves of this image, and then finally it falls off the nightstand and shatters. And that awakens the kid from his sleep. But they put like really strong focus onto certain things. Like when this movie wants you to recognize something, it puts it right in your fucking face. It smears it in your face.
Well, yeah. So this little Jody kid, he's awoken by the broken picture, and he gets up and he steps on a shard of glass and cuts his foot open. So he has to proceed to run into his mother's bedroom to tell her that he hurt himself. And she's like, well, how did you do that? And he says, well, I was having a dream about Uncle Sam. Now, this kid is completely infatuated with his Uncle Sam throughout the whole film, which doesn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense because it is mentioned numerous times that he barely even knew this guy.
Well, he's such a bitch about it, too. This kid is just miserable. I can't think of a recent time in which I wanted a child to die as badly as I wanted fucking Jody to die in this movie.
Oh, he is a little bitch. Yeah, it's just I'm not a big fan of like kid protagonists in films anyways, particularly horror films. And they really, Jody in this film is the protagonist. He is the main protagonist of this film. And I gotta say, I think that's one of the weaknesses of the film.
Yeah, this kid constantly makes awful, offensive, just bitchy comments and decisions. Over the course of the whole movie, he's kind of doing everything you don't want him to do. So when you finally realize you're supposed to be cheering for him, he's left a really sour taste in your mouth. So like, you just don't really give a fuck. Like by the end of this, Troy, weren't you kind of just like, I really don't give a fuck who's alive and who's dead?
No, yeah, no, I could care less. If all of them died, I would have been perfectly fine with that. But it's just a really weird thing to have him be so like infatuated with his uncle. I'm like, dude, are you a little homo and like you are having some strong sexual feelings for your uncle based on his picture of him in his nice tight army fatigues? I don't know, because right away in this opening scene, the mother is like, I don't know why you're dreaming about your Uncle Sam. You barely knew him. Okay, I guess it's supposed to be the fact that, kids idolize people in roles of authority. So, but then even that doesn't make sense, because none of these people in the family like this Uncle Sam character, as it's revealed. So it's not like this kid grew up hearing about how great his Uncle Sam was, right? What is his fascination? Like, this kid lives for his Uncle Sam to the point where he's taking items of his Uncle Sam's to school with him on a daily fucking basis.
Well, and it's not like the character of his mother is like strangely like hostile or abusive or negative figure in his life. It's quite the opposite. She's played actually very warm, very understanding. The mother is actually probably one of the strongest performances in the film, and he's so like resistant to her, but she makes it very clear that she's kind of uncomfortable to talk about who is her brother, thus obviously being his uncle. It's her brother, and so she's pretty clear about the fact that she's not comfortable discussing it with the child, and he's just so insistent about it. But she still plays it rather nicely. The mom is obviously a very positive figure over the course of the movie.
Yeah, so she tells him, hey, I guess it's great that you have such fond memories of your uncle, even though you never met him. But just go put a band-aid on your foot and go back to bed. And so he does. And then we cut to a scene of the sheriff driving through this foggy town to drop his date off, which we find out is Louise, who is Jody's older sister, correct?
Isn't that his aunt? It's is it Sally? Is that her name? They look like the same human, by the way. These two women look identical.
They do. Yeah. They do. One of them. Okay, I know that one of them is Louise and one of them Sally. I think the younger one is Louise. Yeah, she's the one that's dating the cop, even though she treats him like shit. So
she is she was married to Sally's brother. That's because this Uncle Sam.
Okay, so she's his. Yeah. I'm so confused with these family dynamics, people.
So let me set the structure real fast. So you got Sally. She is the sister to Sam. They had what we learned to be a very negative relationship. He was abusive towards her. And then, so when he got married, it transferred over to Louise. And so both women have bonded over the fact that they have been abused by this male figure in their life, which is an intriguing concept.
But it's never explored.
Not well enough. There is another moment later where they let Sally explore how she feels, about this, and kind of go into a monologue a bit. She actually does quite a good job, but I wanted more. It's not enough.
So don't you find it weird that she's living with... It's just a weird dynamic. I really thought that, for a while, I thought that Louise was Jody's sister. And it's just weird. Why would she still be living with her husband's sister?
Is she though? I from here's what I understood is I thought that she found out that the body was found, so she's supposed to host the body in her house, but she can't do it because she's having it's trauma from being abused by the guy. So the sister offers to take the body instead.
But isn't this where the sheriff drops her off at the sister's house? I'm confused. I don't know.
I thought the sheriff drops her off at her house.
Does she have a house? She's just always at the other. She's just always at the other.
When he says why can't I come inside? She's like, I'm not ready yet. It's because she's still uncomfortable with bringing a man into her home because she was in an abusive relationship.
Okay. I'll take your word for it. I still think they live together. I don't know. I'm going with that. It makes it a much more interesting. Maybe they're lesbians. They look like it with that haircut. Anyway, so... Yeah, so she's kissing this handsome sheriff, and she's being really dismissive of him. I'm like, honey, why are you he's a pretty good looking guy. Why are you being so dismissive of him? I guess it's because she was in an abusive relationship. But that was, he's like, hey, can I have a kiss goodnight? She's like, you already had one. And she gets out and just storms in. I'm like, honey, you have no business being that bitchy when you're wearing a goddamn frumpy ass dress.
Yeah, that dress is very 90s. I mean, this movie looks very much of that era. I will say, because of the time frame it came out, 1996, my God, do you see the like the pre-Scream influences before Scream had come out and had a true impact. This feels very shticky. This feels very it doesn't feel like, I would say, it's self-aware in any way. Whereas, Scream is a very self-aware piece of meta horror film. This was before that. So you are just getting pure, unadulterated, shticky slasher horror. Along the lines of like which was the one with the goddamn blood hook? It's like very much a blood hook in my book.
Yes, taking itself seriously, even though the subject matter doesn't require that. But I do, like we mentioned this on our last Patreon episode. I do miss like the fun horror films like this. But I think Scream kind of changed the whole landscape of the slasher film now, and before that, you did have films like this that just are fun and a blast to watch because they take themselves so seriously, even though they obviously should not. As this poor Louise is going into her house, she gets startled by who is this is Bo Hopkins, right?
Yes, the Major. What a presence. He appears out of nowhere, startling her, and he proceeds to inform her that her husband's body was found, what, like 3 years later, correct?
Yeah, 3 years.
I mean, this body is still still intact. Like, I'm very confused. Wasn't he blown up in that goddamn helicopter?
He was burnt to a crisp when we saw him in the opening scene. I have a lot of problems with how the with how this body is handled throughout this film. And we will get there, and I think you know exactly what I'm going to say.
Oh, it's so fucking weird. The storyline is so disjointed; it makes no sense at all.
He gives her Sam's dog tags back to her and says, "Yeah, we're going to bring the body back. He could have a military burial." And she's like, "No, he has a plot next to his mom and dad here in town." And he's like, "Okay, well, if there's anything I can do for you, let me know." And then he proceeds to say something to her that I thought was really asshole-ish. He's like, "Oh, and by the way, you'll get over this in time." I'm like, "You don't tell somebody that just found out their husband is really dead." I mean, she's had the suspicion, and granted, she did not have the greatest relationship with her husband, and she's probably glad he's dead based on what we find out. But he doesn't know that. So you don't tell somebody who just who just found out their spouse or their mother or their sister died. You don't say, "Oh, you'll get over it in time," and walk away.
Lots of bold dialogue choices over the course of this whole film, and yeah, this major character is very presumptuous to make such statements. But here we are. He comes in, he delivers her the information, he gives her like a wink, and he's out. He's out the door. He's gone, and he's restricted to very very few scenes. Probably because he's one of the bigger names in the movie, and they can only afford him for so long. But the few scenes that the Major is in, he's a complete fucking asshole. There's a lot of unlikable people in this movie, Troy.
Oh, yeah. Well, she goes inside and shuts the door and starts crying a la Annette Bening in American Beauty style behind the door. We don't actually see her, but we hear her crying and we can see her silhouette through the door. And then we cut to Mr. Isaac Hayes. Isaac Hayes. I cannot. I'm sorry. I love Isaac Hayes. I love some South Park, but I cannot. Anything with Isaac Hayes now, that's all I think about is the chef from South Park. So I'm like, oh, it's Chef from South Park playing a soldier. But this character, Roger, is so random and really is just shoehorned in the film for a specific reason. And it just, I mean, he has some good moments, but I'm like, I don't understand what you're trying to do here.
I think what they're trying to do, Troy, is almost like a Shining kind of like approach, because
Yeah,
he's giving
yeah.
advice to the kid, and he like kind of in some ways like takes him under his wing at times, and I feel like they're trying to go full Shining with this character, but he's nowhere near as complex and layered and overall just interesting. He's not poorly played. I mean, he's actually fine. It's just the character is just kind of thin. But who in this movie isn't thin?
He's Isaac Hayes. Isaac Hayes, I think, is one of those actors. And again, I like him, but I feel like he's one of those actors that is just gives the same performance over and over again. I don't think there's a real nuance or depth to his acting ability, but what he does perfectly fine. But yeah, he's putting on his military gear in front of the mirror, and he's just like talking to himself with like this soliloquy about how why it was him that was able to live, because apparently his squad that he was with when he went to Kuwait, they all died except him. So he's like, God, why did you let me live? And I guess it's a hint at post-traumatic stress syndrome, right? But kind of offensive.
Oh, it is. I definitely think it is. It does feel very offensive. It's exactly what I'm going to say. It feels like this character is given so little to do, and all he's given is PTSD. Like that is what he has. That's his one interesting plot point, and his fake leg, and his like wooden leg, and that's all they really have. Yeah, he's not given enough time to really based and feel like much of a layered character. And I have a big issue with the finale of the movie because it revolves around him and what his two children. And
Fuck
I'm
those
sorry,
two.
like if you were to tell me, yeah, fuck those kids, and if you're to tell me that this is the conclusion and that nobody's going to look at these three and question facts, like I mean, like a senior citizen, former soldier with severe PTSD and two children, one of which is blind and bound to a wheelchair. Like, if you're going to tell me that they're getting away scotch free with blowing up houses with a
I
cannon,
could
I'm sorry. Like, we'll get there, but I got to
to
tell you
talk
right
about
now.
that kid in the wheelchair.
Because it is that fucking that psychic child who comes out of fucking nowhere. That's really what I'm here for. Is that fucker in the where he's like we're gonna get there, but when he's like light it. Like I was just like. This fucker's taking the bull by the fucking horns. We'll get
and
there.
Isaac Hayes is just going along with it. He's doing what.
And he's like,
Yes,
yes,
sir.
yeah.
He's like,
yes,
yes,
sir.
sir.
Like, whatever. Oh my god, no.
Oh my god. Okay, so we get this
Oh,
random scene with
no.
Isaac Hayes introducing his character, and then Jody's reading his army comic books. You know, he's all excited about army comics apparently. When Louise tells now she's over at this is where it gets confusing, because she's at the house now with them. So see, this is why I assume they live together, because like every scene she has, she's in the house with them. But she's telling them, she's telling Sally that they found Sam's body and that they're bringing him home. And we do get the first slight bit of dialogue where it is revealed that really Sally could care less, because Sam was abusive to both of them. Now, it's just very much glossed over. We get more details later on in the film, but it's kind of the first little hint that we get that, okay, they were not a fan of Sam. So obviously they weren't talking Sam up through the entire, through Jody's entire life for him to get this like sparkling image of Sam being this like wonderful person, because neither one of these women can stand Sam. They're glad he's dead.
I'll say some of the stronger acting moments are between those two. Neither of them are bad. They do look like doppelgangers. Like, I swear it is the same actress. It's very distracting. But yeah, they do pretty well off of each other. And you could very well be right. Maybe she is living in this fucking house. I don't fucking know at this point. I clearly don't have a clear grasp of exactly what the story is. And I did just watch it 2.5. I didn't get a full third time through, but 2.5 times this fucking movie. So my brain is stewing over it. But sometimes you watch a film and it just doesn't make a lot of coherent sense. And I gotta say that Uncle Sam is oftentimes one of them. Wouldn't you agree, Troy?
Yes. I mean, yeah. I mean, that's kind of what we mentioned at the beginning of this episode. The movie just doesn't land a lot of times. It's just an odd film. And I know it has its followers. I mean, I think it does have kind of a little bit of a cult classic status, simply because it's one of the very few true 4th of July slasher films out there. I mean, we have I Know What You Did Last Summer, but this one definitely amps up the 4th of July imagery much more than that one. So I know people enjoy this film. You can sit back and just chomp on some popcorn and have a lot of fun with it. But a lot of times it just does not make a lot of sense. And we get this scene now with Jody in class with his teacher, Mr. Crandall. And Jody just is very free to tell Mr. Crandall that, hey, they found my uncle's body. And look what I brought to school. He brought an ammunition case. Okay. I know this was pre-Columbine, but there is... Would you just let a kid walk into a classroom with an ammunition case, even though all it's in it are medals of honor or Purple Hearts or whatever they are? But this is an ammo case. This case is designed to hold ammunition, and this kid is just parading it around in school.
Yeah, and then the conversation that follows is extremely like America, like it again, strangely ahead of its time. Not necessarily in a way I want to admit to it, but it's very like this kid is like basically like sitting here talking to this teacher, asking him about like why he didn't serve in the military, and the teacher basically admits that he like kind of fled from it, and it just I don't know. It's uncomfortable. You know what I mean? This dialogue is very uncomfortable. It's weird to hear it.
Well, the kid even says, "Well, my uncle's well, because Mr. Crandall, yeah, he says I never joined the army because I grew up during Vietnam, and many people thought that Vietnam was an unjust war, so they protested or they left the country." And Jody immediately says, "Well, my uncle says you guys were cowards." And the teacher's like, "Okay, well, go sit down, Joey or Jody." And so Jody goes to sit down, and he has that ammo case with all of the medals out there. And under his breath, he's like, I'm going to join the military, and I will listen to my president. I will do whatever my president says because he knows best." And you're like, Jesus Christ, the kind of foreshadowing that this film, obviously it wasn't on purpose, but geez, like I said, just watching it now, knowing where we're at as a country is, I think it's just a different experience now.
Yeah, it definitely feels I don't know, maybe that hostility from the kid just feels extra tender right now, like hearing that kind of beratement he's giving to the teacher because we hear it so often. And it sounds like it's coming from such a hostile place. It just feels very much like in the moment of what we're experiencing now between adults, you know?
But again, this is what I'm going back to, Roger. This kid never knew his uncle. I mean, he knew him, like they met, but they were not close. That is established. Like the mother says, "You never knew your uncle," and Jody's like, "Well, yeah, but he was nice to me when I did meet him that one time." So where is this kid getting such a passionate pro America, pro patriot viewpoint from? It's not like he grew up with this uncle hounding it into him. His mother certainly didn't do it because she seems very standoffish towards the idea of such extreme patriotism, right? So where did he get it? It's just a really odd choice. I think, like you said, I think it really is trying to shoehorn maybe in a supernatural, Shining-esque element, because there is the moment at the end of the film where the uncle seems very in tune with Jody. Are we supposed to assume that there's like some telepathic link between the two of them, and that's why Jody feels so strongly about his uncle and serving his country? It's just very odd. Usually this kid is no more than like 10 years old, right? How old is he? 10, 12? I don't know. I just don't buy that a kid that young would have such a strong sense of patriotism to the point where he's saying he's going to do whatever his president tells me, when nobody was hounding that into him.
Yeah, it feels like the kid just took it on himself and was like, I'm gonna favor my uncle because he sent me some letters and some pictures, and that's that. Like it does feel like a really forced story arc for this child. I really don't understand how he developed this extent of not only obsession with his uncle, but also like just his like undying love for America at this age. It's weird. It's such a weak motivation for me. Then, like I said, the kid's a total bitch, and he's only bitchier as the movie progresses. So I'm like, it's hard to root for him.
Yeah, I don't like this kid at all, honestly. So we get a scene now. We cut to after this whole school scene. We get a scene of Sam's body being delivered in the coffin to the home, where it is carried in and put in the living room of this house and left there for the entire rest of the movie. Is this common?
I mean, it does feel again like a very forced choice to get the body just like now it's there, like it's in the house now.
I mean, no, I'm serious. Do funeral homes literally just drop coffins with dead bodies in it in people's living room and just leave them there?
I don't know about overnight. Like I will say, so I used to work in the industry of funeral transportation, and there are home showings. You know that does happen, and it will be stored there for a period of time, kind of like how a body will be placed out for a viewing. So what I'm assuming is they're setting up for both the viewing as well as the actual funeral within the house, because they say they're doing it they're doing it from the home.
Well,
So
it's in this house for quite a long time.
it is.
So because yeah, I was just wondering. I'm like, this is very, very odd. And for the fact that Sally and Luis like have such strong like feelings against Sam, it's really weird that they would just let the body be put in the house in the first place. What don't you think? Wouldn't they be like, just go bury it? We don't really want to have anything for it.
Right. Well, and this is part of the thing that threw me off about like where does Louise live? Like where is her home? Because at first it sounds like they wanted to do the showing in her house, and she's like, I can't do it. I can't be there for it. So I thought that's why Sally was like, we'll take him here. We'll have the body come here. That way you don't have to be around it as much. So is how I kind of read this conversation between the two of them. I do feel like Sally's a pretty stand-up character. I do like the female camaraderie between the two of them. I think Sally is very much like very loving towards Louise, even in considering that it was her brother that was physically abusive towards her. She relates to her. So I appreciate that camaraderie between these two women.
So Jody gets home and immediately wants to touch the coffin, and not only touch it, he wants to open it so that he can put the medals that Uncle Sam won or was awarded in the coffin with him. He's like, I think he should have them. And the major's like, no, no, no. I much rather think he would want you to have them. And so he leaves, and the mom's out on the porch talking to him. And there's this really like weird scene where the major's like grabbing her arm and like rubbing, is like, if there's anything I can do for you, you just let me know. I'm staying at this motel. I'm like, okay, we know where this is going. And when the mom gets back in, when Sally gets back in, Jody is like at the coffin. She's like, quit playing with the coffin. And he gets really offended by this. He's like, I was not playing. And he storms out.
Yeah. The child has a strange obsession with wanting to open the fucking coffin. I don't know. I have no desire to ever see a dead body ever in any situation, let alone like be the one that's like, I'm going to lift this lid and take a look for myself. No. Like, keep it closed, please, especially knowing the state this thing is probably fucking in. But the child is insistent on opening this fucking coffin.
So the major is back at the motel, and he's talking to someone on the phone about the fact that, oh well, you should see these two broads. You know, the ex-wife of the ex-wife of Sam is banging the sheriff, and I wouldn't mind getting a piece of that myself. And the sister, she's hot too. I'd do that as well. I mean, we knew where it was going with his little sexual innuendo on the porch earlier, but it's like, God damn it. Does every like male character in Authority have to be like a fucking asshole?
Problematic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's such a trope, you know?
It is. And like the guys in this are very much all like, even the ones like the more likable ones still are kind of dicks. I don't think there's really any men in this film that are totally likable. Like Ralph's a dick. The officer is kind of shitty about like her not letting him come inside. Like I don't think there's a single guy in this. Even the male kids suck. The only one that's kind of likable is Jed. Like other than that, everyone else is just like shitty people. I don't know, but at least like there's a lot of personalities like that. And for the most part, there's some bad acting in this, but for the most part, overall, there's not a lot of cringe-worthy performances in this. Just some bad one-liners.
Yeah. So speaking of Ralph, Roger, this is the scene where we're introduced to Ralph, who is Jody's mom's date, or she's dating him, but he comes over for dinner. And of course, he notices the coffin in the the living room. And he's like, "Doesn't that bother you?" And she's like, "Well, I got to do what I got to do. It was my brother. I wasn't really close to him." And this is where we get more, backstory, because she does say that she was never able to get close to him because he ran away when he was 14. And when he finally returned home, he had a really, really bad drinking problem, which made it really impossible for him to interact appropriately with his family.
It's an intriguing backstory to have for all of this. I keep kind of getting hooked in on it, like realizing just what a shitty person he was, and you keep learning more and more about it. I wish they would have really landed it,
Well, Jody comes downstairs, and he does not want anything to do with having dinner with this Ralph character. He in fact, he asks if he can just get a plate and take it up to his room, and his mother's like, absolutely not, you're staying down here. So he does, and he has to be exposed to Ralph bragging quite cheerfully of the fact that he makes his living and makes quite a good living off of helping his clients avoid paying income tax. And of course, Jody's like, "You cheated the government." And Ralph's like, "Well, no, I just do what I can to, to help my clients. That's my job." Oh, and hey, by the way, little Jody, you want to ride on the 4th of July float with me? I got one, and you can ride on it with me. And Ralph's like, and Jody's like, "No, absolutely not. I don't want to. I'm going to be excuse myself and leave you alone." So
This child knows way too much about like all of these things. Like as a kid, he shouldn't even understand like what he's fucking talking about when it comes to like income tax. Like this kid's like 10. I just don't understand how he has such a deep knowledge of it.
yeah, yeah. And Ralph does make this quip about, well, maybe he'd show me more respect if you showed me more affection. I'm like, oh, fuck you, Ralph. Fuck you, Ralph.
And she's the same way. She's like, "Oh my god, my kid's in the fucking room." Like or she's funny. I like her. She delivers a few little quips that I enjoy.
That evening at night, we do get a small scene of Jody, again, illustrating his extreme infatuation with trying to open this coffin. He literally goes downstairs in the middle of the night and is trying to pry this fucking coffin open. Does he not realize the body in this thing is going to be A, it's going to probably smell awful. B, it's just going to be nothing but a mushy, decomposed mess. But he apparently doesn't care. He keeps trying. It doesn't open.
Well, I don't understand like what he's going trying to take away from this. Like I don't know. I think you're exactly right. Like this body would be nothing but remains, like bone shards and remains. I don't know. This kid's creepy. Like don't you think like this kid like a lot of the things he wants and or is trying to achieve in this film it's just like very very creepy. It doesn't seem like this kid is very stable.
Yeah, well, this kid is definitely a lot to take in, as particularly as a lead protagonist in this film. It's really hard to get on board with him and understand truly what his motivation is. So the next day is the visitation, and everyone's there, including Sergeant Jed. And as Sergeant Jed is paying his respects to the coffin, Jody does notice that he has a wooden leg, and his mother's like, "Jody, it is not polite to stare." And Sergeant Jed's like, "No, no, it's fine. I'm used to it." So he takes him outside, and they have this long conversation, Roger. And what is the gist of
Oh, it's so
it? Is
fucking
so
long.
long, and already we're about 30 minutes into this movie, and nothing has happened.
Well, and this is very much when I say like, okay, this feels like The Shining. Like I really feel like they want to be The Shining in this sequence. Like he's sitting there, he's like just giving him sage advice, and the kid's asking questions about life and knocking on wooden legs and everything. And it just, yeah, it's they're trying to establish a relationship with between these two characters. I get why for the sake of the story, but it does not feel like it's authentic at all.
No, and there's this moment where Jody tells him that he hasn't decided what branch of the military he wants to go into. And Sergeant Jed immediately yells at him and says, "Boy, you better forget that. It's not the same anymore. We don't even know what we're fighting for anymore. We used to have a clear enemy, and now we don't know. So you better just forget it." And then he proceeds to feed him some information about his uncle, right? Because he's like, Jody's like, "Well, I just want to be like my Uncle Sam." And Jed says, "You, boy, are nothing like your Uncle Sam." And he tells Jody that with his experience with Sam, he realized that Sam just liked to kill. Joining the military was his way to kind of get a free license to kill people. And Jody's like, "Well, don't isn't that what makes a hero?" And Jed says, "No, boy, no. There are no real heroes." So all of this stuff we're learning about Sam, everyone seems to know he is a shitty character, right? A shitty person. But the child is still infatuated, no matter what he's told.
Yes, but the child still insists on loving him. He's so steadfast, and this is like some very stern advice, stern guidance that Jed is bestowing upon him. Like he does get heated for a moment, and At this point, the kid is still just kind of like flaky about all of it, and I'm like, I don't know. He seems old enough that he should at least understand the message that's being transmitted to him, but he's so like I said, steadfast and unwavering in his adoration for his uncle. It does feel very, very forced at a certain point. Like at a certain point, you think he would let go of these fantasies. It's not like I don't disagree at times with what Jody will be saying too. I'll say this, like sometimes he'll throw an interesting point out, a little even more evolved for his age than I would expect, but it's the way the kid delivers everything he says. He's such a cunt about it that like I just want him to die horribly. It sounds like he stands for horrible things. Like he just is like a very like negative
Mm.
kid.
Yeah, his line delivery is quite interesting. He makes a point to enunciate everything very harshly, and I think that does give it the quality of being like bitchy. Um, so after he talks to Jed, he goes into the house and he hears Ralph talking about basically wars. This war is about nothing but oil. And this little fucking boy tells Ralph to shut up. He's like, "Why don't you just shut up?"
And Ralph is like just looks at him like, "What the fuck did you just say at me?" And like and his mother is over it at this point. She's done.
Yeah, she sends him upstairs to ground him, and she's like, "You will not be going to that parade." And he's like, "Good, I didn't want it to anyway." So he goes upstairs, and we get this scene where he is playing with his little uh, army things and looking at his picture of his uncle Sam, and he's like, "If anybody disrespects this country or badsmouth this country, they deserve to have their butts kicked." All the while, we're getting random shots inserted of Sam's burnt to a crisp body laying inside the coffin.
They'll do that occasionally over the course of this film. They'll do like really quick cuts to certain things, and sometimes it actually works. Like sometimes it'll cause me to jump a little bit. It's a strange method to use over and over because it does kind of interrupt the pacing at times. But I think they're trying to cause like moments of startles, scares. This movie at this point can certainly use that because the story is becoming overloaded. So I think they're really just trying to inject some horror into thus far.
Well, yeah, because nothing has really happened. After this scene, we are exposed to some random teenage boys in the cemetery who are vandalizing tombstones and not burying, they're they're burning the American flag.
Oh, just casually burning a flag in a graveyard,
In this,
Troy.
and why is Sam's tombstone already there with his name on it?
Well, because I think the whole point is that the body is going to be the next day. The body is going to be brought to the cemetery and buried.
Oh, I didn't know tombstones got made that quickly. Generally, when you bury somebody, they're in an empty plot for a while until the tombstone comes. I was like, well, okay, look at this. His tombstone's already there. They're ready, and it's only been a day. Although it's a very lackluster tombstone, it literally is a sheet of brick with his name carved into it. So I guess it couldn't have taken that long. But these kids are just like burning flags, knocking tombstones over, causing all kinds of mischief.
Yeah, the sequence is kind of cool though. To be honest, I mean, it's absurd, but we see it. We get the premise. We start to get a full grasp of what's happening. Whatever this ritual that's about to take place, the burning flag with the ashes falling into his gravestone, it's whatever is happening. It's enough to get him to wake from the fucking dead. We see all the makeup.
Which I don't understand because at this point he would have no connection at all to this particular grave plot or tombstone because he hasn't been in the grave. Like, how does he
Oh, it's a
know?
thin plot, Troy. It's a
I
thin. It is a
know,
thin fucking plot.
I know, but okay. So so here's the burnt pieces of the flag flying into his open grave apparently cause him to reanimate and come back to life as this zombie because he proceeds to get out of his coffin back at the house, and he gets his pins and his medals that he was awarded from Jody's room, pins them on, and then he goes into his sister's room or his wife. Who is it?
It's just so this would be his sister's room.
Okay, so he yeah, because they look so similar, and he just like stands there staring at her. Now we get the performance of the decade in this next scene. This random girl is getting dressed. She comes out of the shower. She's getting dressed. We do see some boobs and butt. When this literally, how tall is this fucking thing? This thing is taller than a house.
Okay, this has to be the scene that would stand out from the movie for me, partially because it's absurd. Nobody on stilts is that tall. Nobody. But this guy is on some of the tallest fucking stilts I've ever seen. Willie is his name. It's the only time you meet this character or really see him. And he's watching through the window, watching this naked broad in her knockers boobling and bobbling all over the place, and he thinks he's going to go unnoticed apparently, but so she turns and this 2-story man is looking through her window in this fucking mask. It does look like a home invasion apparel. If I were her, I would respond the exact same way. And she does give a very, very flat, 80-yard scream where she's like, "Ow!" and runs out of the room, boobs flopping over her shoulders and everything. It's such an absurd premise. It's such an absurd setup. And then as this fucker starts fleeing the scene in that goddamn costume with those stilts all the way up to the fucking heavens, he starts full sprinting, but as you sprint in stilts, so he's slowly making his way down the lawn, down the sidewalk. He causes a car to almost flip over. He's trying to get away, but he can only stride so quickly. It's very anticlimactic.
Yeah, how does he think nobody is going to notice him? And why is he walking around in this get-up in the middle of the night, just randomly walking through this town in this literally 2-story tall Uncle Sam costume? And you missed you glossed over the most entertaining part is when he starts running away. This broad goes to the window and she's hanging out the window, literally shaking her fist. The entire time you can see her in the window shaking her fist. She's like, "I told you, don't come here again. I'm calling the police." And you just see this little...
Yes, call the police. This man is 2 stories tall. He's viewing. He's a voyeur. Yes, call the police.
But he runs away, and as he's running, he realizes someone's following him, and he falls backwards. He hits a tree, actually. Runs into a tree branch and falls backwards, and Uncle Sam comes up to him in a very lackluster way, takes the mask off him, and then just, I guess, what's he do? He takes the mask off of him and then just kills him with garden shears?
Yeah, but it's done off camera. You see it come at the camera. I have to comment this guy's voice. It's obviously dubbed over, but as Uncle Sam is strutting up to him, he's laying on his back and he's like, "What happened to your face?" He's got this Muppet-esque voice that he's like, "Oh God!" It's so weird. And who is this character? And then he gets killed and you never see of him again. Anything of him again. But don't you think there'd be word going around town that a body was found wearing 2-story tall stilts? Don't you think that that would hit the news, hit the media? Don't you think there'd be a Gail Weathers out there who'd want to capitalize on that fucking story? Local man found after viewing woman through window and sprinting in 12-foot tall stilts. It just seems so specific. It seems very specific that nobody would acknowledge that this man's body was found.
No, and then the other two kids he offs, they're not acknowledged either, and he leaves one hanging from a flagpole.
Oh yeah, that body had to be found. No one's picking up on this shit.
Why is there... Okay, first of all, so he goes to the graveyard to find these kids who were vandalizing his grave. One of them goes off to urinate and is immediately sprayed in the face with spray paint.
I thought he was literally being spray painted to death. I was like, is this how this guy's going to die? There's more to it, though. There is more to it.
There is more to it because he falls into the grave, the open grave, and basically, it's in a lackluster death scene, I guess.
He sells it, though. He's not bad.
The kid sells it quite a bit, actually. It's probably one of the better acted moments of the film as Uncle Sam is shoveling the dirt on top of him, and this kid realizes he's being buried alive. So he gets buried alive, and the other kid gets grabbed and strung up on the flagpole, which is in the middle of this goddamn cemetery. And Uncle Sam leaves him there. You literally see him hang the kid, wrap the rope around the knob of the flagpole, and walk away. So you're trying to tell me nobody saw this kid hanging from a flagpole in the middle of town. Nobody saw the kid laying dead in the town square in his 15-foot stilts. It's just not mentioned. It's just not mentioned.
It's completely open-ended. And really, you think these are things that people would pick up on.
It must be the same town that American Psycho 2 took place in, where nobody is mentioning the dead body that was found in the library or the professor that falls out the second-story window. It's just ignored.
And the whole like I will say like the whole sequence with the kid getting strung up on the flagpole is actually quite cool. Like there's a series of like each one of these kills kind of pops in its own way. Like yeah, the still chase sequence is absurd, but it's also like kind of fun and like it is kind of suspenseful because like this guy can only go so fast. Like it's weird, it's stupid, but like it's also kind of fun to watch. And same with like the kid getting buried alive. Like the thing that sucks though is like the one thing that doesn't really land throughout all this is the killer. The killer's absurd. Like the killer looks like a comic book character, or like I mean, he looks like a mascot, and that mask does not do him any favors. And like the costume is just so bright and cheerful, contrasting against like what his normal appearance is, which is the green, like burned, charred skin. Like yeah, that makeup's kind of like iffy at times, but I'd much rather have that over him in this fucking like bright red, white, and blue costume that's just so sticky, you know?
Yeah, yeah, I get it. I mean, it's I guess it is. It's keeping with the theme of the movie in terms of the Fourth of July patriotic holiday. I think they thought it'd be a cool idea to have a killer Uncle Sam, which it is, but just for this particular killer and how he's portrayed, yeah, it just doesn't mesh very well. Um, and I really wish they would have done something different with the character to make it seem more plausible that this character would be walking around wearing this disguise, this very cheap looking Uncle Sam costume, because it just as it is with this character and what we learn about him, it just doesn't seem like it's something this character would particularly do.
Yeah, it goes so against his like his overall personality. Like he seems so gruff.
Yeah, it's like I mean, it's definitely just there for the visual effect so that they can say, "Oh, look, we have a slasher movie with an Uncle Sam killer," but they didn't commit to it fully in terms of making it feel authentic to the audience. Because you are 100% right. This character's personality and his persona that is presented throughout the rest of the film, up until he puts on this costume, does not jive with him wearing this Uncle Sam costume. Like he is hell bent on one thing. He would not have to put on a costume to do that. The next day, it cuts to, I do like this. It goes from the flagpole in the cemetery with this kid hanging off of it to the flagpole in the middle of the town square the next day being raised for the parade. And they are prepping for this parade full force, including a little chubby kid who's going to play George Washington. However, Roger, he does not have his hatchet. I guess a hatchet is required accessory to George Washington. I am assuming because he chopped down the cherry tree, but this is George Washington portrayed as a president. So I'm not sure why this hatchet is so important, but it is so important that Mr. Crandall goes back into the schoolhouse to his classroom to get the hatchet. And what is even more questionable, Roger, is it is a real fucking hatchet.
Very questionable. And if it wasn't for how fun this edit was, I'd be like, this doesn't really make any sense. But you have this whole thing where like the teacher walks in the classroom and he's looking for the hatchet. He's searching all over, and the camera pans back to reveal Uncle Sam, whose costume completely blends in with like the excessive decor. They went above and beyond with this school. I mean, there's red, white, and blue everywhere. But it does make for a very fun shot. And this whole kill could feel like a complete ripoff if it wasn't for the fact that when like it cuts back to the kid and he's like, yeah, he's getting the hatchet. And then it cuts back to the teacher and the hatchet's in his head. And the head like hits the ground and blood starts like pouring out of the skull. And I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of a cool, fun cut. Like, I enjoy it for what it is. I get what they're getting at. I thought it was well executed.
No, it is a cool scene. I like the fact that they give it a little bit of comedic tinge. The previous deaths so far have been pretty serious, and this one is a little bit fun with a fun play. And I knew what was going to happen the minute the kid said he didn't have his hatchet, and the teacher goes in the schoolhouse to get it. I knew exactly what was going to happen, but it's still executed pretty fun. And the comedic timing of the kid saying, "Oh yeah, he ran to get the hatchet," and then we see him fall back with the hatchet in his face. Pretty effective. Pretty effective. So the parade starts, and it's a big to do, in this town. Apparently, full fucking parade to the point where Jody, who is grounded, remember, sees it from his bedroom. He's like, "Fuck this! I'm not missing this." So he goes out side to watch the parade.
Yeah, again, he is going completely against his mother's wishes. He is being rebellious. He is being a bad child. Jody does not do a lot of favors for himself in this movie. I like him less and less.
And now, Roger, we are introduced to the one and only PJ Souls.
Let's talk about the introduction of PJ Souls, and let's talk about the extreme like left turn that this storyline takes when they introduce the character of this fucking blind child in this wheelchair. Bold choice. It was a bold choice to go this route. Here we are. Now, at past the halfway point, this dialogue has come up every once in a while about this kid who was involved with a firework accident. Like it's been mentioned earlier in the film, but that's about it, right, Troy?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's all. That's all we've gotten. All of a sudden, this kid is now a character, and his parents are very stressed about taking him out because obviously there was an incident with him and fireworks the year prior. It's brought up here and there, but this character, up to this point, he's had no relevance to anything other than just being like side banter. All of a sudden, they decide to bring in this child who is determined to have a psychic bond with Uncle Sam. And it throws me for a loop. I don't know how to take it. It's really fucking weird. In some ways, I feel like when they're trying to go for the Beyond, you know that movie The Beyond with the blind psychic, only in the form of a small child with a bowl cut. Like it is one of the weirdest choices I've seen in a while. And this kid, sometimes like I can't stand him, but sometimes he's the only thing getting me through this movie.
Well, I love it. She comes wheeling him out, and she's like, "We're taking you to this parade because we want to show them what they did to you." And this kid, I'm like, PJ, just let the kid stay in the house. If this kid was traumatically burned at the same parade last year, why are you bringing him to it? Do you think that's going to help him? She's like, I just want everyone to see what they did to you. And of course, Jody runs up to him. His name's Barry, right?
I think
Barry?
so. I never really even caught it. I just call him the blind child with the burn. Because he has this massive burn on the side of his face from the fireworks, aside from being blind. It's not the best effect I've ever seen, but it's there. I mean, there's a big old burn on his face.
I believe his name is Barry, and Jody runs up to him. It's like, "Hey, Barry, it's good to see you. You know, I can." And he's just ignoring him. Barry's not saying a word until Jody's like, I'd really like to hang out with you." And Barry's like, "And do what?" And he's like, "I don't know. I'll come over and I'll bring my comic books. I have a lot of military comic books." And right away, the mother, PJ Souls, is like, "I don't think so." He's been through enough tragedy already. She wheels him away.
Definitely not PJ Souls' like shining moment in her career. I'll say that.
No, PJ Souls, honey, I love you, but oh, not in this.
No.
Not in this.
No. We've seen better from her, but I'm sure we've seen worse as well. She really just doesn't do a lot, which is shocking because she really is one of the few like recognizable names overall in this cast. But
I just don't think this is a character that suits her very well.
She's better at being likable than she is unlikable.
Yeah.
She's
Yes.
so over the top with her like
Yes.
nasty bitchy ways in this, but she
Yes.
looks good in
This
that
is
red dress.
This is supposed to be like, I think, one of those southern debutantes that kind of runs the town, but that's just not PJ Souls. I mean, think of all the characters that we've seen her. Even in like Carrie, she's unlikable, but you still like her, right? There's that balance where here it's just like it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. I was like, oh, PJ, thank God she's not in it very long.
I like my PJ Souls whimsical and fresh face, not sour. No sour puss PJ Souls for us. But yeah, so this all leads to everybody gathering at the like the 4th of July like festival. And I do have to say, like, my God, they really just serve up the imagery. The extras, the townspeople are overjoyed. People here love the 4th of July. They are celebrating. There are events. There are water tanks. We get people walking through the town talking about shenanigans going on and so forth and so on. We get a really good view of just like what size scale this event here is and how important it is to the town. So I really do like that. I like the way they shoot all of this footage. There's this one scene with two of the gentlemen walking like through the event though that they walk past like the water tank sequence, you know, when the girl gets hit and drops into the water tank. And there's a whole conversation that's had that I could literally not understand anything that was being said because the mixing is very much like everything is overlapping. So I was completely lost, but I still thought it looked really cool because they're really giving us a great scale of the size of this 4th of July event.
Yeah. It looks like it definitely has the authentic small town 4th of July celebration feel to it. Growing up in Iowa, I've been to plenty of these exact same types of events, and they really capture it quite well. They do get what's his name, Jesse, to come up on stage to sing the national anthem. And you think it's going to be like this, nice, wholesome performance, but he really, what's he do? He turns it into like a metal version of the national anthem, and the audience proceeds to boo him off stage. So before he gets off stage, he moons them.
He's such a shitty character. Like,
I thought this was an odd choice. Like, why this kid really thinks he's going to get away with this? This is in front of the entire
yeah,
town.
the whole time, and they just like boo him, and he leaves, and that's it. He's never like punished for what he does. It's very obnoxious. His bangs, his foppish Jonathan Taylor Thomas bangs. My God, he's just a horrible person, and you want to see him die as well, and die he does. And then comes this bit with the goddamn fucking blind kid, where like he's in the crowd. Uncle Sam saunters up to him and touches him on the shoulder, and there's this whole like moment where like the child's like, "Who are you?" And Uncle Sam's like, "I am what comes in the night. I'm the vision of evil." Like some nonsense like about like his like it's way deeper than it needs to be. Whatever he says here. Like this could have been far less of a thing, but they try to make it this big, like, serious, dramatic moment.
You know what it really reminded me of, Roger? Yeah, they try to make this, and this is what I'm saying. This film wants to be, it seems, comedic, but this villain is so like dark and serious, so it doesn't work because it reminded me of like Pinhead. He's like,
oh yeah,
you know who I am, and I'm gonna make them feel the pain that you felt. You see, they're all going to pay. They're all going to suffer this immense pain like I had to, like you had to. It's very Hellraiser-ish, and it just doesn't work in this film. And yeah, this little blind kid, he's like, oh. And then his parents come back. Okay, so they literally left this wheelchair kid in the middle of the park by himself to go get hot dogs.
That happens all the time. This kid gets left behind all the time.
But she's so protective when she's introduced with him. She's like so protective of him. She doesn't want anybody around him. But then she just leaves him in his wheelchair in the middle of this goddamn parade where anybody could come and get him when a fucking zombie does. A zombie comes and talks to him. Anyways, and then so he walks away and there's the dad comes back. He's like, "Who is that in that Uncle Sam suit? He's a good one." I'm like, what the fuck?
Here's my big issue, Troy. Here's my big issue. If this kid would have been introduced as a character earlier on in the film with more of a purpose, like maybe I would buy this a bit. But to try to throw this into the storyline like this far into the film, it just doesn't land. Like it doesn't make sense. It doesn't feel the film didn't even feel like it was going really in this direction at all. And all of a sudden now we have psychic links. Like it's just it feels very forced. Very, very forced.
Yeah, I feel like this film really just falls apart quite a bit in this whole scene. I mean, there's some good imagery, but for the most part, this is where the film really starts to just lose its everything. I mean, it just falls apart. We get now a Robert Forrester here slumming it up as a slimy congressman. He's trying to get elected, so he's going to give his speech to the town folks, who he refers to as Hicks. He's like, "Oh, I guess I got to go talk to these Hicks so I can get elected." It's just very odd. It's just all odd. Oh, and now is this the scene? Is this the part where that broad is just hacking away at those ribs?
Oh my! There's one thing about this movie that I can't get enough of. It's those goddamn fucking ribs. Sign me up for those savory meats. I mean, she is just chopping them up, and she's just hacking into them, and they're just so tender. And then, like, and this poor girl. I mean, she's slaving over this smoker. She steps away for a split second to light up a fucking joint, and lo and behold, that goddamn officer shows up, takes it from her, and then like sends her off on her merry way. But like, I mean, I hope he doesn't get any ribs later. After stealing her fucking weed, he sounds like a piece of shit because this girl's working hard.
She's doing all the damn cooking at this 4th of July thing. And those ribs look succulent. Although she's hitting them I mean, there's a lot of aggression behind her chopping. I mean, because she is hacking away at these things.
Another character that needed some backstory. I'm going to say it. Girl with the ribs.
Yeah, of course, she gets back to her little rib post, and the cleaver is missing. I wonder what could have happened to that. I do like this whole sack hop. I do like this whole sock hop. Hold on. What the fuck is this thing called? Is it a sack hop?
Potato sack race.
Okay, I'm leaving this in because I think it's funny. They got to hear us sometimes not be the most polished, right? Especially on our Patreon. The potato sack race. I was calling it a sock hop. Anyways, I do love this because there's that one kid that's like mowing down everybody.
Oh my god, people are going down left and right, and they're going down hard. It's that goddamn kid with the fucking Jonathan Taylor Thomas bangs. He's back again, and he's knocking everybody down. But what I like even more is that the other people who are like racing beside him are oblivious to it. They're just like happy, smiling. Like nobody notices this guy is just taking everybody out. It's pretty hilarious, but it is really satisfying to watch him go down that goddamn fucking ravine.
Oh yeah, he gets knocked down the ravine and he tumbles down it pretty hard. And when he gets up, Uncle Sam is right in front of him, and the kid's like, "Oh man, nice costume." And then of course Uncle Sam plants that meat cleaver right in the fucking kid's face, as he should.
Well, he takes the head off. But I gotta say here with this whole moment, like he has this thing. He gets up and he's going along that like line of lemon or orange trees, and every time he passes Uncle Sam, he like looks over, and Uncle Sam keeps like kind of manifesting, and it adds this fantastical element. Like, okay, I'm sure there has been a fantastical element. He's a goddamn fucking zombie, but now he's a zombie that apparently teleports because he keeps like he keeps appearing as the kid's like hopping along. He looks over, and the killer is just there. Uncle Sam is just there as the camera like follows him. So it's like it's almost as though he's like teleporting. It's very weird because it's not used that much. I know he's a zombie, but he's like a fantastical like teleporting mythical being. It's very weird. I don't know exactly what he is.
I think they don't. I don't think the filmmakers know what he is. I think they just do specific things just for sake of doing it. Like they don't have. I really doubt they had a concrete idea of what this villain was supposed to be. They're just whatever the moment calls for. That's what he's gonna do. I mean, I really feel like that's what it was. I highly doubt they had a detailed plan in terms of what type of zombie this was going to be. What can this villain do? What can he do? They didn't get that far. Trust me. Yeah, you're right. He hacks Jesse's head off. And then there is a scene after that where Louise is talking to the sheriff and he wants to put his arm around her, but she's like, no. And he's like, what is your deal? Are you still scared of your husband? And she's like, I don't know. I just don't feel right. And of course, Uncle Sam is right behind him, listening to the whole shebang.
Oh, he is a gentleman scorned, and now his target becomes both the officer as well as his wife. Like he's like wanting to get his just revenge. Which I mean, poor Louise, like or Lois, is it Louise, Lois? One of the two. I mean, she's just trying to get on with her fucking life. Like, my God, it's been 3 fucking years. She didn't know. She didn't know that you were fucking zombified and still out there. Like, come on, your body's still intact. She had no idea.
Yeah, so then Sally goes to the float that Ralph is supposed to be the float person. And he is sitting in a chair and he has been shot in the head. There is literally a bullet wound in the side of his head.
Well, you did get that one moment earlier where Uncle Sam was playing, like the shotgun game where you like knock over the ducks or whatever, and the Carney even made a comment about what a good shot he had. So he like takes the gun and he like breaks it off the chain, but you never see anything come from it. You just see the body reveal, which was kind of a bummer because I kind of wanted to see where they would go with that. But I guess he uses it just for the one kill and that's all.
Well, she doesn't seem too tore up about it. I mean, this is the guy she's dating, and she's like, "Oh no, he's dead. He's been shot." And then little fucking Jody, did you hear his comment? He's like, "Yeah, it's because he's a crook."
And she's like, "Oh my God, just shut the fuck up!" Like the mom is over it.
So the congressman, Mr. Robert Forrester, is using this opportunity because now there's a dead body. Everyone's up in arms. He is really using this as a chance to stick around and get more publicity because news outlets are going to show up and start reporting on this body that was found. And so he is going to lap up the limelight, apparently.
Is this sunglasses? No sunglasses?
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy. That's all he has. That's his defining trait.
Okay, so this is when this is the scene you were talking about earlier, I believe, where Jody is like, "Oh my God, Sam, if Uncle Sam was here, he would have kicked butt. He wouldn't have allowed this to happen." And Louise proceeds to tell Jody that Uncle Sam was not a good person. That he actually hurt her so bad at one point that she thought he was going to kill her. And then his mother chimes in, Miss Sally, and says, "It's true. He was doing things to me since I was 6 years old." And I'm assuming that we are to assume that he was molesting his sister, correct?
Oh, that's definitely the vibe I get. And she actually sells this bit here pretty well. Like, I mean, she puts a lot of emotion into it, but my God, it goes to a dark place that I did not anticipate, you know?
Yeah, and Jody is like, "Well, Mom, I'm sorry that happened to you, but why did you take my medals?"
I do like that he finally shows a moment of humanity and comforts her. You know, I mean, at least he starts to realize, because this kid has been a fucking pill the entire length of the movie.
I think he says it just because he feels like that's the right thing to say, because he immediately goes to, "Well, why'd you take my medals?" "Oh, I'm sorry that happened to you. I'm sorry you were raped by your brother. But why'd you take my medals?" I feel like it was like, oh, I gotta say I feel sympathy for her, because he's immediately concerned with his medals, and she says she did not take them, and they are interrupted by the sheriff, who comes in and says they found another body with its head chopped off, and we get this very abrupt cut to that barbecue girl opening her grill and finding Jesse's head on it before someone comes up behind her and shoves her head on the grill. We don't see it, but that's very much
That head
implied.
reveal is pretty good, though. I
It's
mean,
funny.
like, that's a
I
fun
mean, it's
bit.
fun. It's fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you imagine being
Yeah.
that poor girl slaving over these ribs all day?
Oh my God, only to be killed? That's
Only to be
unfair.
cute. Oh, it
At
burnt
least
your face.
compliment her meats. My lord. This
So
next contract sequence that comes up is rather large scale. I'll say that. Like, there's cut-ins of the major being bound to the display as this whole big speech is being given, and it does make the whole event feel again like really kind of like large scale and grand. They do really well with like their bigger extra sequences and so forth. Like they got all the townies to come out for these scenes because it all feels very rooted in that kind of small town vibe. Like everybody's there. It feels bigger than it. I think this movie actually is.
but why are they still having this thing when it's been very much announced that 2 dead bodies have been found? Wouldn't you? Don't you think they'd be like evacuating and be like, "Okay, we're stopping this parade. Everyone go home."
Well, and I think they're finally getting to the point where they're about to do that when shit fucking hits the fan. Because the one gentleman in the bucket cowboy hat is insistent on things moving forward. And there are those 2 random men that are like bodyguards or what have you, who you see for like 2 separate scenes and you don't really exactly know their purpose, but they're definitely like, something's going on. Like they're making it clear that something's happening.
But they're still getting ready to announce the congressman's speech, and when they announce him to give a speech, he doesn't come on stage, and then it is like revealed through like a lighting and whatnot that he is tied to the firework platform, and he literally has like bottle rockets and shit shoved into him so that they're going to go off. And yeah, this is pretty much a large scale firework explosion scene where shit's hitting the fan. Fireworks are going off on this congressman. It's to the point where he literally gets blown up by the fireworks. At the same time, the sheriff is due to the explosion, the sheriff is knocked backward down a hill, and at the bottom waiting for him is Uncle Sam with a large flagpole that the sheriff is impaled on very abruptly.
This whole thing is fun. I mean,
it is fun.
I will say, like, all this firework bit, all of this with him going down the hillside, like, flipping and rolling, only to be impaled by that flag. Like, I feel like that's one of the standout moments from the film. This whole bit with the firework sequence.
I do like this moment. I like the chaos of it. I'm all about a good chaotic scene, and this is a very good controlled chaotic scene that still captures like the 4th of July essence brilliantly. I love the imagery of just the fireworks going off, and people are just oblivious to the fact that what is really going on. There's people being murdered, and they're just cheering, and the fireworks are just going. But yeah, I did feel a little cheated by the sheriff's death, because I thought it was just like it came out of nowhere. For being such a prominent character so far in the film, it's just like, whoop, okay, he falls on a flagpole. That's the end of him.
Yeah, I feel that too. I definitely do.
But I guess then it's figured out that Uncle Sam, that this is all being orchestrated by someone. And this is when the film kind of cuts back to Jody back at his house. Is he back at his house with that wheelchair kid?
Yes, they go back to the house, and then the mother pulls up, and she's like, "What are you doing here? Why are you guys at the house?" And they're like, "Oh, I better lie to the mom." Meaning, like, the random gentleman with PTSD who's in his 60s and these 2 small children. If I was that mom, I'd be way more suspicious of the shit that's going on with these 3.
Yeah. And this bit pretty much leads to the final what I want to say, anticlimactic close of the film, where Uncle Sam shows up at the house. He comes in the house and he sees Luis, and he's like, oh, in his annoying voice, oh, my beautiful ex-wife or something, and she tries to shoot him. Apparently, you can't shoot him because he doesn't die. He also Jody goes up to him and he has this dialogue with Jody where he's like, I came back for you.
So I have my whole issue with this whole final closing bit of the movie is that you're like building up to something with some of these characters and then you kind of just drop them by the wayside. Like you've got this whole epic moment with his wife where she's like shooting him up and then like she runs off, and I really wanted her to be involved with the finale. Like she, out of everybody, she was the most wronged by this guy. Like she's a prominent enough character, like let her have like kind of a final girl-esque moment. Doesn't happen. Sister Sally, you think she's going to be involved for a minute, then she kind of wanders off and she's just not involved for the big final moment. Instead it's just Jed and the two children, the one blind kid, and then Jody, and it's those three kind of like taking charge and going from there. And the characters I really wanted to see like get their like vengeance, um, kind of just disappear, and that was a big bummer for me. I really wanted the two women to kind of have a moment where they rose up against this abusive male figure. Who apparently did some horrible things to them, but at least she does have the scene where she shoots him up. Like that's pretty cool. I mean, obviously though she can't do anything to him, and then they make this weird choice of leaving the child Jody there to like distract him because they have like this connection, while Jed like sprints from the house, takes his car, drives to the middle of the town, grabs the cannon, chains it to his vehicle, and proceeds to drive back, which I'm assuming is going to take a good 20 some minutes. Like don't tell me
Yeah.
that took 3 minutes. Like that's a big ass process. That's a fucking cannon. And then he has to like take the cannon, turn, position it towards the house. Meanwhile, Wheelchair is just sitting there and overseeing things because I really trust this kid's angle on shit. And he's sitting there and he's like, "Fire!" like it's absurd. And then like you have this whole moment where Sam and Jody like step out of the house, and you think for a second like Jody is going to like go to Sam and be like align himself with him. And you think it's going to go that route based off what he's saying. And Jed like freezes, and that child in the wheelchair is like, light it. Like he's like he doesn't give a fuck. He's like, we're killing this motherfucker. But then you do find out it's all it's all a plan. Like it's all part of Jody's plan because last minute he jumps and runs, and it allows them to launch the cannon, light the cannon, and erupts, and it fires into this beautiful house, destroying this fucking house. Like this house goes down in a blaze of fire, and like whose house is that?
They are laughing about it. They are
Oh my
pleased with
God.
themselves that they just blew up this house.
The one in the
They're just
wheelchair
in
is
the-
like maniacally bobbling over it. He loves it.
he's having he's oh clapping his hands and shit. Like I'm like, oh my, you just blew up some poor woman's house, isn't it, Jody? It's Jody's house, right?
I mean, yeah, and this is what I say. Like, are you going to tell me there's not enough proof that I believe that they're going to be able to say, yes, the zombie came back. It's my Uncle Sam. He came back from the dead, and he was trying to kill his ex-wife and my mom, and he didn't succeed because we stole a cannon and we blew him up. Like, because the child in the wheelchair has a psychic link with him. Like, if you told me that, and I was like, a respectable like police officer or like judge or somebody who works with the law, I would hear that story and I would be like, these fucking kids are on drugs. This man was drugging these children. This older gentleman was doing strange things to these children, and they all need to be put in jail. Like, there's no way I would possibly ever buy this, but they seem all fucking okay with it.
Yeah, they blow up the house. They blow up. They shoot the cannon twice because the first time it doesn't kill Uncle Sam. The second time he's coming towards him on the lawn, totally on fire. He's engulfed in flames, and they light it again and blast him right through the house. I mean, he's launched through the house. This house is destroyed. Not only, I mean, is Uncle Sam launched through the house then proceeds to blow up to the point that Jody goes flying about 15 feet in the air. And they are just clapping and laughing. And I mean, there was really I think what bums me out with this one, with this particular ending, is there was really no confrontation.
No, like the confrontation is the final moment.
Yeah, there was no like chasing. There was no like moment of realization where they actually like are confront or are confronted by Uncle Sam and realize at that moment he has killed several townfolk to kind of lead to this frenzied, explosive finale. It's just abrupt. It comes out of nowhere. I don't think it was executed very well at all. But I mean,
Right.
it does lead to Uncle Sam and the house blowing up, and then apparently sometime later, Jody is getting rid of all of his war memorabilia, I guess. And the film closes with him turning around and looking at his mother with, is it supposed to be a maniacal look? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, what the fuck is this final note? Like, what is this supposed to be? Am I supposed to believe that, like, he's possessed? I don't know. Like, is he possessed by Sam? Because I sure didn't take anything away from that. Like, it's just very confusing what kind of note they're trying to leave us on. It left a weird taste in my mouth, this final moment, to be honest.
Yeah, I could not figure. I was like, what are they trying to insinuate? Are they trying to insinuate that he now is going to become like an abusive asshole, like his uncle, or are they insinuating he's become possessed? What is this deal? I don't get it. I don't get it. It doesn't go anywhere, and we never got a sequel to kind of answer these questions, these pressing questions that we have about Uncle Sam. So we're just
Yeah.
left to, I guess, make our own decisions. But
Yeah. Yeah, not like I really care enough to make my own decisions.
no,
Like,
I mean,
that's it.
this film, I mean, oh God, just odd. I'm just going to use that word to describe this film. It's just odd. Odd choices made. There are some enjoyable sequences. There were some sequences that I really got a chuckle out of just because of how absurd they are, not necessarily because I thought it was like stellar filmmaking. But I mean, give it props. Let's give it props for being one of the few 4th of July themed slasher films. And you know what better film to close out the month of July with than Uncle Sam? We've watched worse. I will say that. We've watched
Yeah.
worse.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there are just like some really fun moments, like the stilt sequence, absurd as it may be. It's definitely a popcorn film. You know, it's you can sit down and enjoy it. I would watch it again, probably not right away, but I don't hate this movie. It's just it ain't going down in any Hall of Fame of mine. You
I
know.
No, I'm not. I honestly could care less if I ever watch this film again. It's not going to be something that I revisit willingly. Like I don't even care if it's 4th of July. I'm like, oh, I mean, if it's on or somebody I'm with friend, sure I'll. But I would never like purposely watch this film again. It just doesn't do anything for me. Like I said, I'm not a fan of the tone of the film and just how disconnected and disjointed it is. I can't figure out what they're going for with this film.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of humorous horror in general. Like it has to take a really specific tone to catch me. This definitely isn't it, but I do enjoy moments of it. I'm happy we reviewed it. It's fun. It's definitely fun, and yeah, no, I think that it was a fun little distraction based off of some of the heavier material I know we'll have coming up here in the next few weeks because we're about to get out of our fan picks it month. We got, I think, what is it? One
We
more
have
coming or two?
we have two more coming, but
Two more.
I mean, we're gonna do them. I actually rephrased it when I posted them to Patreon. I didn't call it a fan choice month. I said our fan choice series, so that it wasn't like pigeonholed and to get them all done within a month. I just called it's our fan selection series because that sounds more fancy.
That is, we are fancy. We are
So
fucking fancy.
we are still going to do them. They are Kolobos and Near Dark, but in between we're going to probably have a special surprise episode for you featuring a very special guest. So we're
It's
excited
gonna
about
be a
that.
fun one.
But we are hell bent on doing the remaining two fan choices on our regular feed, and we will announce shortly what we'll be doing for Patreon for August. So yeah. So guys, again, as always, thank you for being a patron. We truly appreciate it. Spread the word about the podcast. Share what you can. Comment. We know we have a new Patreon, Jason, who is being amazing at commenting on our posts. So join him.
Yes. Thank
Engage him.
you.
engage in some conversation with Jason, because he's throwing out some really good suggestions and things that he would like to see based on the topics that we've discussed so far. So join in, people. But with that, we will leave you, and happy end of July, and we will have lots of Patreon goodies for you in August.
Oh, it's going to be a good one for sure. Absolutely. We got some good stuff coming, guys. Keep your ear to the ground. We'll be dropping it soon.
Yes, absolutely.
On that,
All
we
right,
wish you the
folks.
happiest 4th of July.
Yes, we do. Good night.
Good night.